But before I reveal everything, you should have a look first. Notice anything strange here?
Not inherently, no. Should I be noticing?
I'm not trying to be dramatic. Remembering the details of a trick will help you understand the methods used to perform it more easily.
Huh. Weren't there balloons and other decorations here? Where did all that go?
Ah, good eye. That said, you're still far from discovering the answer.
The back door isn't the same.
The back? You mean the inside of the door? What's different about it? Paimon didn't notice anything.
Very good indeed. I thought you might not be able to catch that, given that you were sitting in the first row. The back of this door was patterned. Those patterns are now gone, replaced by a smooth wooden board. So, if you put 2 and 2 together, what do you get?
There's another box inside this one. That much is obvious. A lot of magic tricks are performed that way by having a false back.
Exactly. All right, let's go. I'll tell you how it works as we head down.
Okay, that doesn't really help me in this particular instance, though.
Oh, so there was a passageway under the magic box.
But how would you change positions in 10 seconds? It's going to take you more than 10 seconds to swap spots. And is it a ladder? I can see the ladder on the other end, but is that really what you're climbing to get in and out of the box? And this passage linked the 2 boxes together.
I knew you'd figure out most of it as soon as you saw this place.
I mean, it was the obvious assumption on how it was going to happen because clearly it wasn't magic.
The 2 magic boxes are positioned right above the 2 entrances of the tunnel.
Where's Garrick, by the way? It occurs to me to ask, where is Garrick? Because if we're talking about this tunnel, Linny goes under, swaps spots, and goes up. He sees the girl as they cross, one assumes, because the timing would be similar, and they'd have to cross paths for her to go up into the other box. And then, if Garrick took the girl, he could have stuffed Cal into the box against his will.
See this flatbed trolley? The box with the lucky audience member in it would be shuttled over to the other side using the trolley.
Why? Because you also need to go in the opposite direction. Why does the lucky audience member get a free ride?
This trolley can raise and lower and even rotate, ensuring that the box will face in the right direction.
I see. So that's the purpose of the box inside another box.
Precisely. The inner box would descend after the audience member was put inside and be moved along the trolley, all while the outer box would remain on stage as if nothing had ever changed.
So that's how you did it!
So what? He would vacate his box to get out of the way for the trolley to ascend and put the other box into his box while he runs over and just takes the ladder to go back to the other box. Is that what you're saying?
Once the box was lowered, the trolley would store some energy through this device here, with which it would complete the rest of the steps.
That seems like a really useless sentence, but let's go.
The audience member would only be able to feel some slight movements in the dark, and by the time she walked out, she would already be back on stage.
Then what about your side of the trick?
Right! You were talking that whole time, and you even came out for a moment near the end!
Ah, yes. A phonograph operated by Lynette was used to achieve that effect.
I had wondered if it was sound production, if it wasn't actually his voice, but I was like, nah, surely it's fine.
My assistant and I had already scripted our conversation beforehand. When the countdown began, I had already gone to the opposite box via a tunnel using that ladder.
And what about Lynette? Where was she?
I was in the mezzanine space in the back of the box.
Oh, interesting!
That's how we were able to coordinate Linny's lines with the assistant. And by the way, I was the one who walked out of the box at the end.
I mean, we are twins. All it takes is a change of clothes and no one can tell who's who.
Except for the fact that you have different eyes, different height, different body shapes. Of course they can tell who's who.
And that's my favorite part of this trick. Only Lynette and I can perform it.
So that's how it all worked! Wow, every detail you revealed was more amazing than the last!
Did she wear contact lenses? I can tell a lot of thought was put into... So where did Lynette go? Okay, hold up. So if Lynette was at the back of the box performing the phonograph or whatever, and then she went out the front of the box as Linny, where did she go at the end of the trick? Did she remain... Well, she can't have because there was a big splash on stage. So she must have gone down into the tunnel as well. I can tell a lot of thought was put into this.
Lynette would briefly walk out of the box and then go back in, jumping into the tunnel and escaping before the box on the trolley could finish ascending.
Yeah, okay, so I was correct on that front.
And then I walk out of the other box in the audience area, and the trick would be complete. The operative word here being would.
So, in all of this, since Cal was on stage... Shit, was it Cal or Garrick he was talking to? Or, right, I guess Lynette was talking to on stage. I think it was Cal. No, it was Garrick. Shit, I don't remember which one. But that is to say that one of the assistants would have been downstairs with the guest at all times, and then Lynette herself would have been downstairs as the box was ascending. So she could have seen something.
But as you saw, Cal was in the box, not our audience member. She, on the other hand, mysteriously vanished.
We really don't know how that happened.
If not for that interlude, this would have been an astonishing trick. I probably never would have figured out how you pulled it off.
And it had to have happened pretty quickly. Because if Linny has immediately gone down the ladder, walked across, gone up the other ladder, and positioned himself in the other box, that takes, 15 seconds if he's really, really, really rushing? So that gives so it's a minute countdown. Let's say 15 seconds. It's 45 seconds left. But you've got to take time off for the time that the box has to go down. So that's another 5 seconds. So that's 40 seconds. 5 seconds on the other end for it to go up. So it's 35 seconds. And that's, Lynette probably takes those 5 seconds as well. So I wouldn't add any time for that. So it's 35 seconds in which the box is unviewed apart from the assistant for the girl to go missing in.
And yet, to think that someone was able to use this magic trick to commit a crime.
Okay, that's great. The next thing you need to start looking at are the entrances and exits to this particular tunnel, because obviously it has to have other entry points than just the 2 trap doors. So where is the entrance exit point from this tunnel? Where does it lead? Can we go track it? Can we see traces of a struggle? Can we have a look down that pathway?
Could we have a look around? I think we can come up with some more leads.
This is the scene of the crime, so Linny and Lynette are not permitted to stay here. I'll escort them back up.
Yes, of course. No need to be so strict now. I won't disappear into thin air, you know.
Thanks, everyone. We're counting on you.
The magic trick. Lenny gave a detailed account of how the trick was supposed to work. Honestly, I think he overcomplicated it. He could have just said it a lot simpler. By using a box inside a box, the idea was for the box containing the audience member to be transported across via a tunnel underneath, and Lenny himself would also use this tunnel to get to the other side. Meanwhile, having changed her outfit, Lynette and her assistant would take charge of on-stage interactions. But which assistant is it? I don't remember. On-stage magic box structure. The magic box on stage has additional layers to its rear, in which Lynette and Lenny's clothes remained hidden. She would appear at the end of the magic trick and lead people to believe that Lenny had been able to instantly move to the box on the other side. The magic box in the center of the audience has 2 layers, and beneath it is an entrance to an underground tunnel. This was how the lucky audience member was meant to have been transported without the audience noticing. Okay, so we're looking for entry and exit points. Examine the control board. I guess that's the lever over there. This should be the control device for the trolley. It seems to be able to operate automatically. It's one big ladder. God, that's one big hole. Holy shit. Where does the carpet go? Is it attached to the roof? A ladder is required in order to return to the magic box above. Well, obviously.
What's this?
It's a grappling hook, dear.
Looks like a hook tied to the end of a rope. Huh? There's all kinds of odds and ends here.
Lenny didn't mention this earlier. Why would a grappling hook be necessary?
Perhaps it was a prop for a different trick. But why would it have been left here?
Why are you implying that it's related to the magic show at all?
Whatever it is, let's make a note of it first.
Dropped hook rope. A rope that has fallen to the ground. A metal hook has been tied to the end of the rope. Its use is unclear. Its use is very unclear.
The floor is wet. Please be careful not to slip.
Does this indicate a struggle? Whose dress is that?
Speaking of which, why would there be water here?
Maybe it's for a trick?
Oh, Paimon knows! It's one of those tricks where you pour water into a jug and then flip the jug over only for the water to disappear?
Huh.
And here's a broken vase. Huh. Did the trolley knock it down while moving?
It's nowhere even near the tracks.
That can't be. The trolley moves along tracks from start to finish. It couldn't have hit the vase at this distance.
Ew, vase.
Let's note this down too and think about it later.
And automatically it should be vase, but no, it's a vase. There are many pieces of a broken flower vase on one side of the tunnel. All the water within has been spilled. Judging from the distance, it seemed unlikely that it was knocked over by the trolley meant to transport the magic box. And it had to have been struck pretty damn hard to have broken like that as well. I don't even know if a struggle would do that.
Oh, these are the clothes that the lady chosen from the audience was wearing, right? Her clothes are here, but she's nowhere to be found.
That's kind of disturbing, not gonna lie. Looney didn't mention the guest having a wardrobe change.
Right. And do you really need to do that if you're kidnapping them? Ugh, this is so confusing. Paimon doesn't want to be a detective anymore.
The young lady's clothes. The clothes belonging to Halsey, the lady who went missing, were found in the tunnel. The reason for this remains unknown. But I'd like to know why it's laid out perfectly like that. Why is it perfectly flat and spread out and not a single crease to its name? It would be more like a vertical drop and it would be like a big mess of just fabric. That bothers me immensely. Now anyway, I'm looking for a way in and a way out and I actually can't see one, which is weird because there has to be one. There cannot only be entry points through the trapdoors. Fire hazard for starters. High precision is required to complete this magic show, and tracks are perfect for making the trolley stay on its designated course. It's a very wide track. I suppose the box was quite wide. All kinds of props and costumes are haphazardly stuffed inside. But where's the exit point? All of these arches are suspicious. Aha, a vent, but it should literally be a door though. The trolley is crucial for transporting the magic box to the other side. The culprit must have used this to execute their plan.
What is this place?
Looks like a vent.
It seems someone could fit through here.
You think? It's massive.
Could this have been the suspect's escape route?
Can we go follow it?
Alone, perhaps. But if they had to pull another person with them, this space would be too narrow.
Why? All you do is grab an arm and yank. That's irrelevant. You should be going in there and looking at the dust.
But there are no other ways in or out of here.
Which, again, fire hazard. There would absolutely be a door. Because how was he going to get the props here? You can't continually use the trapdoors for the props. That'd be tedious. Other than those to go through the magic boxes, and Linny and Lynette were in the 2 magic boxes.
Oh, you're right. Let Paimon write that down.
The tunnel vent looks like it could allow one person passage barely. What do you mean barely? The thing's freaking giant. But leaving along with the lady seems an unrealistic prospect. No, it seems pretty realistic. I think you guys have really strange perceptions
Seems
of
we're
reality.
just about done investigating down here.
Yes. Let's head back up.
Oh, I can only disappear this way? Okay. I still maintain that there should be a door here. Oopsies, wrong button. That button.
Well, we've ascertained the state of the crime scene. Let's find a place to sort out our findings once Malus returns. It seems to me that there are several things that don't add up here.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle.
So, what did the guards say? Did the criminal escape through the vent?
I think the question is, where does the vent lead?
They believe the odds of that are very low, since the vent leads to the Opera House's basement.
Which has doors. Oh my god, I feel like smacking my head against a brick wall.
The guards have checked the area carefully. No one left through the basement during the performance or after the incident, and no one was found hiding there.
How do they know that? Not the latter, the former. No one left through the basement during the performance. How do you know? There was no one on guard in the basement. Are they tracking dust? Is there just a lack of tracks through the basement? I do not agree with this assessment at all.
So the tunnels become like a secret chamber then. You know, like the kind you usually see in novels.
It would seem so.
The plot thickens. Halsey's disappearance and Cowell's death are both quite inexplicable.
Why is nobody mentioning Garrick's location? We have Linny and Lynette in custody. Halsey's disappeared. Cal's dead. Where's Garrick?
No wonder Farina was so confident in her accusation. All the current evidence points toward Linny and Lynette.
No, it doesn't.
In other words, the
You're
charges
stupid.
are very likely to be upheld unless we make some considerable progress.
Isn't this due for like tomorrow?
Charges and then trial.
Or was it 2 days?
So if the charges are upheld, they'll announce a sentence?
That's right. This is how a trial goes in the Opera House. During the proceedings, the Chief Justice and the Oratrice will hear statements from both sides.
The Oratrice will too?
That's right. This is how indemnitium is produced. The statements from both sides, the defenses from attorneys, witness testimonies, and even the audience's emotions will all be projected on the Oratrice.
Hold on. The audience's emotions are projected on the Oratrice? Is that not conflating justice? Is that not taking the audience members' opinions and emotions into consideration? What if they have an unconscious bias towards the victim and they blame the victim, and then the Oratrice takes their emotions into consideration and then like finds the victim guilty of something they didn't commit? That's a really bad way to run your system.
To put it simply, it's as if the Oratrice has its own will and is a judge in its own right.
I don't find this very justice-like.
This also precludes any kind of favoritism on the part of the Chief Justice. And not that this has ever happened anyway.
So the Oratrice shows favoritism by taking the audience's opinions into consideration? This is a bad system. I mean, I already knew that, but this is extra bad. It's worse than I thought.
Once both sides have finished speaking, the Chief Justice will make his final decision. This, too, will be used by the Oratrice as a reference.
Has the Oratrice ever disagreed with Nouvelette's assessment?
Then,
Judgment?
finally, the Oratrice will be consulted by officials. The result it returns is the will of justice itself.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Huh? So that machine is the one that actually decides? Paimon thought Novelette called the shots.
In practice, there is very little difference. Both have always come to the same judgment, which is why people have great faith in the Chief Justice.
But what happens if we go to trial here and the justice finds them innocent and the Oratrice finds them guilty? What then?
Yes, the guards also asked me to convey that none of us will be allowed to leave this place before the trial.
Excuse me, we're supposed to sleep here? What? That makes literally no sense.
Huh? Why?
Because we've chosen to act as the twins' proxies. That makes us persons related to the case.
Can you imagine if, like, the victims, sorry, the accused are imprisoned, awaiting trial, and their lawyers can't leave the jail cell either? Or are stuck at the scene of the crime for a whole day? That makes no sense. And, in fact, prevents you from getting the facts of the case.
They're concerned that we might be colluding with outside parties, or that we might find outside help to disrupt the case.
Does it matter? Won't the Oratrice be able to sense that?
And even if that were not so,
Since it runs on
it
emotions?
could prove problematic if we happen to spread key information about the case ahead of time.
Again, why? Because it's swaying the audience's emotions and the Oratrice is thinking about their emotions?
I'm ready to break out at any time.
Whoa, whoa! There's no need for that! Paimon thinks they have a point. That said, are they providing food?
Is that really your only concern?
Of course. I just hope you don't mind the lack of options. I'm afraid that catering to all tastes is not in the cards, nor is any guarantee of balanced nutrition.
Bloody terrible. Now's not the time to be picky. I don't know, you're being forced into the situation. You should be picky.
In that case, let's just sort out our findings together here. Pity. I was hoping to take you to try some of Fontaine's famous desserts, too.
I would have loved that.
I mean, what better way to properly think through our findings than over some tea and sweets?
We can skip the tea, but the sweets, I'm up for that.
Huh. Breaking out suddenly doesn't seem like such a bad idea after all.
Paimon.
Just kidding, just kidding. Paimon will still do her best, even if there are no snacks.
What do you mean, no snacks? Of course we'll have snacks. If we cannot buy some, then we'll simply make some.
Do you have produce food and water or create food and water as a spell you can cast once a day?
Huh? Here? But how?
Understood, demoiselle. Everyone, please come with me.
Did you bring them with you?
Wait, you're carrying a portable stove with you?
It must be heavy.
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
So you just, like, sit on the side of the road and create food because she's hungry? What?
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Are the eggs refrigerated?
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my awesome snacks soon enough.
This just boggles the mind.
These three are quite the interesting group.
Eccentric is the word you're looking for. Must be a spina de rossula thing. Navia methodically handles ingredients and pulls fresh macarons out of the something.
Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still in the oven. Oh, it's even better now. Paimon can't stop drooling.
How did the oven ice the macarons? Can someone riddle me that?
From the way you had these two guys
They're
carrying
big as
all
well,
that stuff
Jesus.
around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself. Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything.
How did she do all that when she only has access to an oven?
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
You're too pathetic. But that's not quite Paimon meant, but okay.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty beating egg whites and baking like this?
Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks.
I wish you'd phrased that a better way. I enjoy making snacks. Ew, it's so casual and gross and dirty. Can't you say you enjoy baking? You enjoy making sweet food? Like, there are a million other ways you could have phrased it than making snacks.
Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency.
You
or
did
your
it
macarons
by
will crack.
hand? It's hard enough with a machine to get that shit right, and you did it by hand? Good God.
Anyway, give these a try. Fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us.
Well, they actually can't be fresh out of the oven because then they'd be too hot for the icing to maintain its form. It would just melt all over the place if they were still warm. It has to be room temperature, at least.
Only 3?
They're massive, Paimon!
Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head.
No.
You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
I don't get sugar rushes, Navia. I consume too much sugar in my lifetime. I don't actually get that.
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite, strong black tea with a floral fragrance that clears the mind and lifts the spirit.
I don't like tea, sir. And I don't find that... How is strong black tea going to have a floral fragrance? I don't... They seem like the opposites. It's like an oxymoron. Why don't you take a break? No, just thank you.
No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
I didn't express concern, sir. I just thanked you.
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive.
Exactly. Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
So apart from the twins, we're left with two other people. The missing girl and the deceased. Am I gone crack? Is Garrick a figment of my imagination? Okay, I didn't want to spoil anything for myself, so I wasn't about to go Googling looking for my answer here. I didn't write the whole thing. I went and found a video showing the magic trick, and I just watched the portion I was looking for. Garrick is the assistant who is on stage with, I use in quotation marks, Looney, on the main stage with the main box. He was the one who was doing the back and forth with the fake Linny voice. And so he was on stage when Lynette appeared as Linny. As I've been saying all along, that's been Garrick. So why are we only left with two other people? The missing girl and the deceased. Where the fuck is Garrick and why the fuck is no one mentioning him? I am literally losing my mind here.
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel.
So you're not insinuating that the breaking vase was the thud. Okay, cool. But how would you have heard the thud? It would have been under your feet, underneath stone and carpet and just a lot of ground. I don't think you would have heard a thud from underneath you.
Resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction.
The discarding of her clothes is the part that weirds me out the most.
Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes.
I mean, that much is a given. Especially given that it was like bright purple.
Sense, but the real trouble is...
There's no evidence that this third person even exists. Yeah, yes there is. There's even evidence that a fourth person exists.
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third person. But the only people left to consider are both technically victims. Whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowl.
Where's Garrick?
Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowl before making her escape?
No, I think Cal was an unfortunate victim. What did I just say? Unfortunate. Jesus. Unfortunate victim of this particular event. He was not a part of it. It was against his will that he died, which is most deaths, but yeah. So no. Garrick is the one who changed the props, but she had no way of knowing how the magic trick worked.
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off.
Only the assistants know
Or
that.
does she have any motive? The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the magic troop's members.
Were we not thorough enough in our search?
I mean, I'm still not ignoring the fact that Cal could have been involved and participated in all of this and just was unfortunate enough to have been framed or been targeted by the murderer.
From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great. They're nice and crisp and super sweet.
I mean, rephrase that, Paimon. They're crisp on the outside, but gooey and squishy in the middle. That's how you want your macarons.
They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them.
Whose plate did she steal them from?
What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3, honest.
I think 5 make up half your body mass.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
You're not wrong.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count.
I don't think anybody in this building knows how to count, quite frankly.
Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough.
It's fine if you ate them, you ate them. Oh, it's fine. Everyone knows how much you love eating. I don't like any of those responses.
Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? How could you?
Wait, so Paimon's determined to maintain that she only ate 3? What's happening here?
If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal.
This is really weird.
Maloose, set up the stove again if you would.
I don't understand what point we're trying to make here. This is just weird.
Huh? What are you doing?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
There's really no need to do that.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you?
And to have to beat the egg whites again, love, don't even bother.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
At the ready.
Well, this really is your hobby, huh?
Navi does a second round of baking over the 2 missing macarons. However, the discussion that follows does not yield much progress.
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area.
I think we should follow the vent to the basement and check out the basement
I don't know
area.
what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the two of you think the case over again.
It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
Indeed it would.
Thanks for your help and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Probability of third person being involved. Now the Count and Halsey had a motive, but after having talked to Navia, the likelihood of a third person being involved seems very low too. I think you're all stupid.
Alright,
Wait until the trial the following day.
together.
Wait until the trial?
Get our defense ready for the trial.
We need to get our defense ready, but we're going to bed.
It's probably gonna be a long and difficult case. There's no point in worrying about that now. We just need to prepare.
And we're preparing by sleeping?
Macaron's notes. They should help you review the situation.
Okay, whatever. Oh, seriously? That just sucks. That's just mean, game. Mean.